Welcome to another World Cup fantasy video. Today we're talking about the best wildcard team for Matchday 5, and even if you've used the chip like myself, this video is still going to be helpful because we have 5 free transfers to deal with any eliminated players and to also bring in the best possible sets of players and also stack on the best countries in preparation for not just Matchday 5 but also beyond that, potentially into Matchday 6 and 7. So if you end up enjoying this video, then be sure to drop it a like. Let's get this to over 300 and let's also push on towards 18,000 subscribers and beyond. It'd be very much appreciated, and be sure to check out my team selection video as well, and there's also going to be the deadline stream coming very soon. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video. There are a few things to consider beyond the fixture in Matchday 5. So one key aspect is the 2 brackets that we have. So on one side, we have Brazil facing Croatia. If Brazil progress, they'll be facing Netherlands or Argentina in the semi-final. And then, of course, in the final, they could face anyone on the other side of the bracket, which is where Costa is. He's going to be facing Morocco in Matchday 5. And then if they go through, Portugal will face either England or France in the semi-finals. So you have to be aware of that. So if you go, for example, for Alisson and Noppert, and let's say Brazil and Netherlands progress to the next round, well, they're going to be facing each other match day 6. So that will be a transfer waiting to happen if you decide to maybe use a transfer on a goalkeeper. So that's why on a wildcard or using free transfers, I would go for goalkeepers on different sides of the draw. They've got a decent chance of a clean sheet match day 5. I think Portugal could keep one against Morocco and Brazil could against Croatia. And then in the semi-finals, of course, it's going to be very difficult to judge which team, if any, will get a clean sheet. But at the same time, at least you have goalkeepers playing in different matches, so you still have the flexibility of changing your goalkeepers, which is very important. So I would go for Alisson and Diego Costa. If you have any kind of problems or with what I just said, or you don't understand, then let me know down in the comment section below. But they're on different sides of the bracket and they have good fixtures on Matchday 5, so I think Alisson and Costa speak for themselves. In the backline, we've gone for another Brazilian defender here in Eder Militao, but Danilo is back and he's knocking on the door, so there is a chance that Danilo could be the right back, and Eder Militao is not going to displace Marquinhos or Thiago Silva. So if Danilo's back and he's in the starting 11, Militao could drop out, so be aware of that. And if you have an extra $500,000 to spend, you can always just go for Marquinhos, who is going to be nailed on. He's also got attacking potential. He was involved in that great Brazilian goal against South Korea as well, with Thiago Silva finally getting the assist for Richarlison. So I think Eder Militao is a solid option. I think Brazil's fullbacks are quite vulnerable, but at the same time, their defensive structure from the midfield to the defense and even the way their attackers press, it makes them very difficult to beat and they rarely concede chances. So I would double or even triple up on Brazil's defense, despite the fact that against South Korea they conceded, and they probably could have conceded another goal or two had South Korea had better finishing, and also Alisson was exceptional on that day as well. But I would go for a double up, and Alisson and Eder Militao looks really good. Just bear in mind that Eder Militao could be benched if Danilo is back and he's in the starting lineup. Looking at the other defenders, we've got Denzel Dumfries, who's the best attacking option from those left in the competition. And it's surprising to see the likes of João Cancelo being dropped, but he has had a poor tournament so far for Portugal, and Dalot offers them some more defensive solidity. But with Dumfries, he's facing Argentina. That's not going to be an easy game for either team, but Dumfries is certainly the most capable from that game in terms of the defenders of getting a goal or an assist. So I would go for him, and he got a 14-pointer. He was the man of the match against the USA, and honestly he could make the difference once again. Then we've got Pepe, who scored against Switzerland in a 6-1 victory, probably the biggest shock I think of the tournament, one of the biggest shocks at least in the round of 16. The fact that Switzerland lost by 5 goals is absolutely insane. Portugal were really good on that day and they definitely have a lot to offer, and if they play that way for the rest of the competition, they could definitely go all the way for sure. But Pepe's a solid option. I think it's going to be a low scoring game between Portugal and Morocco, and to be honest with Morocco, maybe they could score a goal, but I don't see them scoring 2 or 3. And to be honest, I could see a Portugal clean sheet, which is why I've gone for Pepe. And obviously he's not going to score a goal every single time. He is now the 2nd oldest scorer in World Cup competitions, and I think he's the oldest in terms of knockout games for Portugal. Then we've gone for Otamendi. Argentina have a solid defense, but they have been very unlucky in my opinion. You know, the goal they conceded against Australia, that was literally just a deflection out of nowhere. Argentina were cruising at that stage, and at the end they probably should have won by 3 or 4. And the only big chance Argentina have conceded was at the dying embers of that game when it was 2-1 and Australia kind of sniffed some danger and they smelled blood, and they had a one-on-one opportunity with Emi Martinez saving Argentina, and also that dribble by the Australian left back, which in the end was saved by Lisandro Martinez, making a crucial block. But apart from that, I think Argentina in general have been very solid in all of these games, but the Netherlands is going to be very tough, and it could be a high-scoring game, it could be low-scoring. Honestly, it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out. The last time these two teams faced, Louis van Gaal was the manager and Argentina won on penalties, but it was 0-0 all the way up until extra time, and then it went to a penalty shootout to determine the World Cup finalists in 2014. So it could be something similar there once again. I think Netherlands will be very defensive and look to counterattack as they have done throughout this competition, and Argentina could see the majority of the ball, and it could be up to them to find a way to break the Dutch defence. The final defender is Romain Saïss. He's only 4.5 million, and my preference would be a Gerd, but he looks like he's going to be injured. Let's keep an eye on that situation, but he was devastated when he came off around extra time, I believe, against Spain. And to be honest, I'm not completely surprised about Morocco beating Spain, because Morocco have a solid defence, only 1 goal conceded in 9 games, I believe, under their current manager, and that was an own goal by a Gerd. And also, Spain don't really have that cutting edge up front, but I have to say, Romain Saïss at 4.5 million, Hakimi at 5 million are good options, and I don't mind having 1 or 2 Moroccan players. I think Portugal are the favourites, of course, and you would expect them to go through, but Morocco still have a chance, and you just never know, and their defence is the main reason why they've gotten so far in this competition. I think they will struggle to score goals, but they could frustrate Portugal and maybe take them to a penalty shootout or to extra time, and from that point onwards, anything is possible. So Romain Saïss is a decent option if you're looking for a budget defender, and he's also going to be nailed on, and he's got a lot of attacking threat. Only Denzel Dumfries has more points amongst defenders, so I think he's a very good option in the backline. I think the midfield is the toughest position to kind of fill up. I think with the defenders, you're kind of more sport for choice, arguably, and even in the forward positions, because you only have 3 forwards to choose from. But with midfielders, I think it is a bit tougher. But recently, I have been getting the midfield returns, and I'll be talking about this in the team selection video. But I think Bruno Fernandes speaks for himself. Every time he has started, he's gotten something. He got a 5 point against Switzerland, and of course, he got an absolutely insane return against Uruguay. And he has been Portugal's best player so far in this tournament. Obviously, Gonzalo Ramos made a name for himself in Matchday 4, but Bruno Fernandes against Morocco, he's the only Portugal attacker I'd really advocate for. Gonzalo Ramos could start again, and of course, why not? He's a cheap forward and he's a differential. Rafael Leao, though, I don't expect him to start, and Felix can be quite inconsistent, but of course, he's showing his best version in the Portugal national team. But really, I would just go for Bruno Fernandes, and from the same fixture, I would also go for Hakim Ziyech, who is really good for key pass points, and he also has the assist and goal threat. But to be honest, like I said with Morocco, I don't really expect them to score more than 1 goal, and even then I think Portugal will keep a clean sheet. But you are covering another eventuality and possibility by going for Ziyech, and when I look at 7 million midfielders and below, I'm not really that impressed, and I think Ziyech is probably the best one left in the competition. The other 2 midfielders are going to be facing each other off as well in the first game of Matchday 5, and that is Ivan Perisic and Lucas Paqueta. I'll be completely honest, I'm not a big fan of Lucas Paqueta from a fantasy perspective, especially when Brazil play a front 4, because Paqueta has more defensive responsibilities alongside Casemiro in the midfield. But at 7 million and below, I think he is still one of the best options at your disposal, and also I believe Brazil will go far, at least to the semi-finals, and then we'll see what happens, of course. But Perisic is the only Croatian player I would consider, to be honest. I wouldn't go for Borna Sosa, Livakovic in goal, Modric, it doesn't really matter. I think Perisic is the only one. He is now their all-time record goal scorer in international competitions, so he is clutch for them, and Perisic has a great goals and assist record in general for Croatia, and he's the only one I could see maybe getting a goal or assist against Brazil, and I think it will be a comfortable victory in the end. But of course, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Croatia can prove me wrong there and get something, but let's wait and see. Perisic is the only one really from that game in terms of Croatian players, and otherwise I'm going to be stacking up on Brazil with 3 or 4. And the final midfielder is Bukayo Saka against France, and Saka is the highest scoring midfielder behind Bruno Fernandes, and Saka's been absolutely sensational in this tournament, and to be honest, I think he could do it once again. England have a very tough ask here against France, but I think England have a good chance still. I know most people might say France are the favourites, but I have a sneaky feeling England could do it and reach the semi-finals, and then they have a great opportunity to get to a World Cup final for the first time since 1966. But Bukayo Saka is my favourite England midfielder. I also like Foden, of course, if he starts, but he's 8.5 million, and Bellingham is 7.5, but I think Saka is just about the right price, and he also has the goals and assist potential in this tournament, and he's actually competing for the Golden Boot. So I would go for Bukayo Saka there against France, and I think France are vulnerable defensively. The front three will be the same as it was in Matchday 4 and also in other match days throughout this competition. Lionel Messi, Mbappe and Richarlison. Now you can't see Richarlison here because the game doesn't allow me to put him in, but we do have an extra 5 million in budget, so you will be able to get Richarlison in and build this team. I think he uses exactly all of the 105 million at your disposal, so let me know your thoughts on this team. And Messi could be a great captaincy option, but he is facing the Netherlands. I think that's a very tough game to kind of call. It's kind of evenly matched teams there, but Messi could be the difference once again, as he tends to be throughout his career. And once again, you've got Mbappe as a captaincy option against England, and you could even captain Richarlison. And the way I'm looking to go about it is potentially captain a Brazil player first and then captain one of Messi or Mbappe later on in the week. That's the kind of way I'm thinking. You'll see my thoughts in the team selection video. But Mbappe against England, he's the only France attacker I'd really go for. And of course, you've got Dembele, you've got Griezmann, who's having a great tournament. But in terms of goals and assists, I just wouldn't back him as much as I would Bukayo Saka or even Phil Foden. And Mbappe, he has to be in the team. Even if you back England to go through, I still think Mbappe has a great chance of scoring, and he's a fantastic captaincy option at any time, to be honest. And he is right now kind of competing for the golden ball as well alongside Messi. So let's wait and see what happens in the final stages of this competition. But Messi, Mbappe and Richarlison will be my front three, and you've also got a very solid team overall. You've got a nice balance of every single nation, really, and you've also stacking up on certain ones like Brazil that you might expect to go all the way or at least go to the next round in Matchday 6. So very interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts on this team down in the comment section below. What would you change? And if I'm being completely honest, one player that I'm a bit unsure about is Lucas Paqueta, but of course he did deliver against South Korea. He could do it once again against Croatia, and he has also sometimes popped up for Brazil with important goals, such as the one against Chile last year in the Copa America to get them through, I think, to the semi-finals. So this is a very solid base. I think this could do the job for you in Matchday 5, and I'm also looking to get some of these players in for my own team selection, so be sure to check that out. And if you end up enjoying this video, then smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's get this video to over 300 likes, and let's also push on towards 20,000 subscribers. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and you can also become a patron or a channel member. The links are in the description below. The same goes for the Discord server and the World Cup Fantasy League. All of that is there. I wish you all the best of luck for this World Cup tournament, and I'll see you next time.